How you going? Michigan Studio or
Ruth.
they can
11th was
adjust.
the awards night. We wanted the 12th.
I mean,
May.
Yes.
I don't know if I can see it, but I'm sorry.
We shall call the meeting of April the 6th, 2026, our regular board meeting to order. First of all is approval of agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we shall vote. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, no. Passes 7-0. The USD 49 District Mission, Vision, Core Values, and Strategic Plan. The mission of USD 49 is to provide a quality learning experience for every student in every classroom every day. To support the mission of the district, the USD 49 Board of Education includes supporting a vision that encompasses high student achievement, highly effective staff, effective and positive communications, and effective management of resources. Consent agenda.
Yeah, just real quickly, I'll run through pretty standard board meeting minutes from two meetings, regular meeting on March 9th, as well as our work study session on March 23rd. You have the Hayes Rec Commission agenda minutes. On personnel, I just want to highlight Connie Pemberton, who's been a cook at Roosevelt for 11 years, so she is retiring, so congratulations to Connie. We've got some things there from Early Childhood Connections. Financials, Chris?
Okay. All righty.
Mr. Viner,
Yes, Mr. Park.
I don't know how you want to do it. I have two items that are financials I'd like to pull.
So you want to pull?
All financials, or
So you want to pull the financials?
just those two?
Let's just pull the financials, and we'll talk about the two you want to talk about.
Okay, thank you.
So 2.5 will be moved to 6.5?
Don't we need to approve those?
Yeah. Okay. But he has the right to
I
pull
see.
things.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, the consent agenda then would have the financials removed. Any other discussion or any other request? Okay, seeing none, I shall call for the vote. All those in favor vote yes. Yes. All those opposed, no.
Was there a motion?
Oh, yes. Ken, I know you were trying to help me. I'm so sorry. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any more requests? Now I shall call for the vote. All those in favor, vote yes. Yes. All those opposed, vote no.
7-0.
Passes 7-0. Get my little booger back. Okay, next is public forum. Is anybody willing or wanting to speak to the board tonight? Okay. Next is 4.1, Felton property bidder presentations.
Okay, just at the last meeting, it was decided among the board to have invite all the Felton property bidders to present. So I've contacted all of our bidders, and all four who submitted bids have agreed to come, and they're all here tonight. So we're going to start with Rising Star Trust Company, Chester Mayhew. That's junior and senior. I'll let you figure out which one's junior and which one's senior. Yeah, come on up. You can go right up there to the podium.
Okay, we have a little package we'd like to hand out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to look at this property. We think it's an outstanding project, outstanding property, and we think that we can move forward with it and do something pretty phenomenal for Hayes. And what you have in front of you is our projected layout of how we thought the property would lay out. And then behind that, you'll have different floor plans, different housing that we're currently considering. And I'm going to turn this over to my son, let him kind of explain it. And I'm Chester, by the way. Chester Mayhew. I'm the dad.
And I'm also Chester.
Yeah. Can't go wrong saying Chester.
I live here in Hayes on 43rd Street, 1310 West 43rd Street. Hayes is growing and has a housing supply need. There's a market, we believe there's a market for producing attainable quality homes for working families. I feel like many families can't find homes in their price range, and they commute from outside of Hayes to work here. I feel like this project directly addresses the workforce housing needs that we feel like Hayes has. What we're building, we have roughly planned here for 78 units, most of them being 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and duplexes, and also 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes as well. The purpose of this would be to have entry-level home ownership for young families, working professionals, and long-term residents, not for short-term housing, not for transient workers, but for people who live in Hayes and want to be a part of Hayes community. The affordability and market fit. We're designing these for dual-income working families, people who want to grow a family, start with 1 kid, 2 kids, and eventually move into a bigger home somewhere here in Hayes. These will be attainable homes, but not low-quality builds. We do good work. I believe that we build really good-looking homes, and we will focus on efficient, durable, and practical housing. This development, these 78 units, we could probably build over the next 3 to 7 years. A lot of it goes into it, but the big thing up front would be utilities, curb and guttering, roads, and that costs $1,200 per linear foot that you're going to put that in. That's just to get the utilities to the house. And so that's a huge investment up front, and that's what we are willing to invest into this project to get it going. All the infrastructure is installed at the beginning, long-term value added to the property and the surrounding area. Benefits of the community would be workforce housing, keeping workers living in Hayes, and supports local businesses and services. Obviously, with the project, we would not be doing all the work ourselves. There would be construction jobs and long-term spending in the community for us doing this project. And stability, and this encourages home ownership and long-term residence versus short-term turnover. The benefits to the school district would be an increased tax base. New homes equals higher property values, long-term and stable tax revenues. More students, more family-focused housing, not transient or temporary living. Stronger community engagement. Homeowners invest in schools, more consistent enrollment. This is not a cheap project. This is a long-term investment focused on families, workforce, and sustainable growth. We would like to say thank you for the opportunity to present this to you guys, and hopefully you will consider us in our office.
You ready to make a decision tonight? No. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you, this is terrific.
Have you got any prior projects that you've done that resembles this?
I'm currently working on one in Branson, Missouri.
And And will you be losing local people to help?
As much as possible, yes. There seems to be a tremendous amount of building going on right now, and the backlog looks pretty backlogged. But yes, just like when we developed our restaurant here in town, Catalyst Cafe, we used everybody local when we acquired that and that remodel.
And are you looking at any funding as far as like grants, anything like that from the state, RHID?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We want to utilize every available grant that's available out there, all the incentives that are available. I've been visiting quite a bit with Grow Hayes, and they've showed me the different programs that are out there that are available. And I think it's a tremendous program that helps with that.
I missed the number. How much did you say it was per linear feet for?
1,200 feet,
Thank you.
$1,200, sorry.
$1,200
Per linear foot.
What's the average home price? Do you have an idea? It's like 200,000, 250?
On
Do
the,
these have basements or they slab homes?
they're gonna be slab homes.
Slab homes.
On the average, I thought I had that. Maybe I didn't.
I'm gonna say it's gonna range from 175 to 250,000.
Yeah, that'd be a good estimate.
175 to what?
250,000.
Plans that you have in the packet, are you planning to do all of them, or what's the whole deal there?
The plan would be to do it over a 3 to 5 year period. We would do it in phases.
And you said your building currently in
Branson, Missouri.
So do you have any that we could look at online?
Nothing online.
No, nothing.
Anybody else? Okay.
My gosh. This is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Our next will be BJ Reynolds, Vaughn Murtry, and John Ziegler.
Sneak behind it. He's hiding. This is my partner. This is John Ziegler. I'm Vaughn Murtry. We've been in Hayes since I was 3, so been around. I have M&D construction in Hayes, and we have built on 33rd Street with the school district. Actually, the street is 34th. We put 26 homes up there. So we do have one project under our belt, and we have got you a plan up there, what we have, what we're looking at. And I'm sorry, we was kind of in a hurry. We only had a week to do this, but we did a lot of talking. There's a lot of people that would like to have some smaller homes, lower income housing. We're going to have phase 1, and it will start next to the racetrack. It'll be the farthest south street. We can put that street in, and it's 19 homes, okay? And that is drawn up the way it should be. The street actually has got to go 10 more feet to the north after talking again.
Was this your plan, the one that's back this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we would start with one street. It'll build 19 homes. We will not build, we may build a spec home or two between us, but we will be selling the lots to local contractors. We have talked to quite a few people and thinking low houses is the way to go. They will own their own piece of property. The houses will be around the 250,000. Okay, we got a house plan there that's 1,300 square feet. Just got one plan because we can pull a plan after plan after plan, but there's room on the lots to put double car garage, single car garage, but it's going to have to be a 2-story house, pretty well. A slab you could get in for 1,100 square feet, but to go more, you'll have to go up a story.
So will you have a basement under all these, or?
Okay, we're going to sell them to the contractors. If they decide they want a basement, yes, they can put a basement in. There is room for. We are putting the sewer in deep enough for basements. And when we gave this to the engineer, which we only found out about, we did this in a week. We gave it to the engineer, and he drew it up as an HOA, okay? Which means the easements are a little off. It shows 48 homes on there. We're probably going to get 41, 42 homes on there. The first street will be the same, but it has to move, like I said, 10 feet farther to the north, and the next street will be moving 20 feet farther to the north. So I think the second street will be coming into a cul-de-sac before it runs into, was it Ash Street? But that will be phase 2. Our thoughts are, with the smaller homes, if they go over big, we'll keep continuing going. If it doesn't go over real big, we may have to make the lots a little bigger on phase 2, you know. But 20 homes should give us an idea how it's going. And they,
And Ron, are you looking at any, I know you said, based off the contractor purchasing by building, are you looking at any grant money as well? Or a technical product?
now there is one grant. Okay, so specials. I know we can hold them under $150 a month, okay? There is a, what do they call it, a grant out that you will receive 65% of your taxes, your revenue, your taxes at the end of the year, which will be more than the HOA. I mean, not the HOA, more than that.
And that goes back to the homeowner.
And that goes back to the homeowner. So the specials should be covered by the 65% back from the city. So, but they will be paying their specials for 12 months before they get their money back, which should be under $150 a month.
The other development you're doing here, phase of A about that price range, 150 specials.
The other one we funded ourselves, so there was no specials. But because we're trying to get this cheaper, they can put it off for 20 years, and the lot price will come down $15,000 because we're hoping to keep the lots under $35,000. And because we're using specials, the street will have to go out for bid. Everything has to go out for bid. There's a good chance I'll do sewer and water. I will probably do electricity anyway, and the gas, because that's what we do. And so the sewer, if I'm a little bit, I'll do it, and the water. If we get the job, we will take it right to the engineers and tell them to get on it as fast as they can go. It's still going to take a little bit of time. We've got people lined up and ready to do the streets.
I know you're selling the lots, but what's your projection on completing the project?
Well, I think we could break ground within 6 months, because you guys are going to take a month to let us know, and then it takes, the engineer a month to draw it, and a month to get the built, and so we can start breaking ground in 4 or 5 months. And
Completion, hopefully in 10 years, the whole project.
the whole project, I think phase 1, the 20 houses, will be done within a year and a half. I've got one guy looking at 10 lots, so, he might swoop them all up, I don't know. And once that happens, we'll start the next street. And so, I don't think it's a 10-year project. It may not be here in 10 years. I want it done a little quicker than that. So, I'm thinking, we'll be done in 4 years or so. But there'll be activity, from when we started.
Thank you very much, this is great.
All right, thank you. Thank you. See you all the time.
The next is Land Inspired Real Estate. This is Lance Johnson.
Board members, you've got that, you able to pull that up? Yeah, well, I'll stall while you you did there. No, I appreciate you putting it up because I did not put together any printouts, and I apologize for that. But yeah, Lance Johnson with Land Inspire, as well as Bartlett and West Engineers. Appreciate the opportunity to come before you tonight. I will tell you, I've got probably some scars and some bruises from way back in the day on this piece of property. I grew up in Hayes, went to Wilson School, went to Felton, and then attended Hayes High. My family would say I ran away. I would probably say I got away, but I live in Lawrence, Kansas. Family is still here in town. But I spent about 3 years doing Little League football practice on this piece of ground, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. The guy right there was my coach, and so intimately know this piece of ground and have really watched it, paid attention to it over the years as I come back and visit family. And really, I've never pursued another piece of ground in Hayes. I've loved this piece, and that's why I'm here before you tonight. But my background really for the past 35 plus years has been in the real estate construction and in engineering world. So I've got a PowerPoint, and yeah, if you want to just kind of click through this, Ron said you've got about 5, max 10 minutes. So I'm going to try to be pithy with my time and be efficient, but go ahead if you can advance to the next. Both Chesters did a good job of explaining, I think, the pros for the development of this piece of ground for the community, and that's increasing the tax base. But again, where I began was really here in Hayes, and this is this is kind of home back in the day, and for me, this is kind of a legacy project, something that I'd want to be proud of, and I'd want the community to be proud of. Bartlett and West, I mentioned a little bit. They're an engineering firm that I work with. We're about a 500-person firm, do full engineering, architecture, and construction. And my background, I've done some development. I think somebody asked earlier. I do not have any current development projects going on right now, but I could send you links or pictures to some that I have done. And I have attached some of those and included them at the end of this presentation. But have done some other developments that are similar to this project. But my plan would be to use local subcontractors, builders. Most likely, I would look to be a lot seller, and I look at this as a collaboration project with not only the school district, but the city and the immediate neighborhood. Go ahead. Yeah, 39 plus. I think you can. Yeah, I've got local resources here in town. Plan to work with family as well as local subs and contractors. Go ahead and advance it. Dive in a little bit to the project vision. At this point, naming it Trailhead and Oak, it's where your next chapter begins. It's all about first homes for people, first investments, that first chapter for growing families, and it's really based on a starting point, attainable housing for those young families that will most likely attend the schools next door. Go ahead. Plan to put in kind of a rigorous architectural, we'll start with an architectural control committee. So when I say sell lots to builders, we plan to have an architectural control over what is developed. But we're looking at really kind of a single-family detached, right around a 1,500 to 1,700 square foot home, 2-story, most likely. We've got narrower lots, kind of a modern or contemporary feel, functional layouts for young families. Again, back to with the density, push the quality, durable, cost-effective materials, and again, the use of light and space. Community impact, expand the attainable home ownership opportunities in town, and as you guys are hearing from others and what I've heard for quite a bit of time through family and friends here, but supporting young families and workforce, and then creating on that piece of ground a cohesive neighborhood within that surrounding community there, and then growing the tax base. Go ahead. It's kind of hard to see, but there's 38 single-family homes on lots ranging from about 40 to 60 foot wide. Public streets, There is some common open space, about 3 pocket parks. There would be an plan for an HOA to be able to maintain those pocket parks. It just kind of gives you an idea. All front-loading garage, 2-car garage, 2-story again. Yeah. Any questions?
What was I must have missed it, the range for which you're wanting the houses to sell for?
Yeah, well, you didn't miss it. I didn't miss it.
sorry.
Yeah, no, you didn't. And part of me being an outsider is a little bit getting my hands around the costs here. But I really think you're going to be in the upper twos, probably around $300,000, trying to hit right around a $300,000 price range. At this time, I had not planned to go out and get any subsidy. But I wouldn't rule that out because I know other developments in town are doing that, so we would want to be competitive with the market. But anyway, I would say at this point, it's not dependent upon that.
Thank you.
So that anything that we could potentially obtain there could help the pricing.
What's your timeline?
I think it could be built out within 5 years. So again, given what I'm hearing from the demand, we would want to start immediately and get going through the city process. And so maybe 3 to 5 years would be the thought.
And Lance, you said how many houses on there?
38. You can see that. Again, everything, at least in my world that I do, again, working with an engineering firm and dealing a lot with infill or just projects and neighbors, we know collaboration and getting involved is big, at least to our projects and the success. And so when I say move forward together, that would be the intent, that this would not be the last time you'd see me, unless that's what you want. But hopefully it would be some collaboration and get some ideas and work with the neighborhood. If you want to flip to the next slide or two, I think I've got 3 slides. Yeah, just some feel. I've got background and experience in doing not only commercial, retail, commercial strip in the Kansas City area, suburbs, and then that workforce, attainable housing, infill type residential developments everywhere from duplex to single family.
So you don't want to buy this high school right here?
I would tell you that would be a different group, but I would, given that's a passion of mine I like to create an impact, provide impactful projects in a community. I would not rule that out to find a group to come after that, because I do work with other groups that do multifamily and do infill projects. Have one we're getting ready to start in Olathe, in downtown Olathe, with some affordable housing, but it's a multifamily. So again, given my world, working with an engineering firm, and I work with a lot of different developers, I've got, a vast different levels of experience of different types. So it's not just single family. When you say this, I would look at this either as an adaptive reuse, or hate to say raise it, tear it down, but potentially a high density, come back with a high density infill project. That's a different group. Any other questions? I stay under my time limit?
Did good.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the time.
Yes.
And the last one is Matt Allen with Paul Wartenberger Construction.
Good evening. Appreciate the opportunity to come and present. As he said, my name is Matt Allen with PwC. We've been a part of this community since 1983, and obviously hope to be part of this community for the next generation to come. So just wanted to start off, go ahead, next slide, sorry. It's a little tough to read, but just put I think there's some misconceptions out there as far as what's currently going on in our community as far as residential development, some of the costs that go into that. So I just wanted to outline and kind of go line by line here and kind of just bring to your attention what's been going on here recently and what we're seeing, projecting moving forward. So as far as land costs go, Tallgrass, the Heart of America development, which is everything out east of the hospital, all of that land sold to Heart of America between $6,500 and $9,500 per acre. That would equate to roughly $50,000 to $70,000 for this property. We did visit with Midwest Energy just to get some idea on what their infrastructure would cost, so that's electric and gas. They came in at $225,000, which equates out to $8,600 per lot. All of that has to be paid up front. Now, that is reimbursable to the developer if it is built out within 5 years, so that's something to keep in mind. Infrastructure costs, that's your sewer, water, stormwater. Those are running between $40,000 and $50,000 per lot. I put a note on here that, concrete ready-mix price has gone up 75% in the past 5 years. We're continuing to see that, rise. There's a fuel surcharge that they have on every load, so that's stuff that we're just dealing with from a development standpoint. The Designing, Zoning, Construction Administration, which is a requirement from the City of Hayes. We talked with Driggs Design Group. That cost is estimated at around $100,000. So our overall development cost for this property prior to the construction of any homes would be in the $1.4 to $1.5 million. So that equates to $54,000 to $58,000 per lot. So, next slide. So our development timeline, I know the question was asked, we would be seeking Kansas Housing Investor Tax Credits for this development. That window is actually open now. The award for that for our community would be $30,000 per lot that we would get back in tax credits that we would in turn sell those to, a local bank to help fund some of the development of the project. The negotiation of the land purchase and use agreement between you and us, I'd estimate that to be at 30 days. Design of streets, utilities, rezoning, that's probably a 90 to 120-day window. We could do some preliminary work on that, but we would want to make sure that the tax credits would be coming back to help assist in the funding of that. That award tentatively is July, with funding being available September, October. So conceivably, infrastructure could start the fall of this year on the streets, utilities, that where home construction could be available to start spring, summer of 2027. Our idea for this would be slab-on-grade homes ranging from 1,000 to 1,300 square feet. We would have an option for the storm shelter in the garage. And a couple slides forward, we can talk about some floor plans. Target price range. We're looking at $250,000 to $300,000, which is comparable. That entire neighborhood that surrounds this piece of ground, all those homes range, $250,000 to $350,000. So we don't want to get outside of that footprint. You never want to build something more than what's around it. Part of our funding for this, our idea is to try to get this built out without specials. As we mentioned, $150 to $200 per month is about what specials are running right now. For a lot of people that we're targeting this demographic, that is unaffordable. They don't qualify. They go to a lender and they say, hey, here's my mortgage payment, but then on top of that, I've got to pick up another $200 in special assessments. That takes a lot of our demographic out of the picture. So part of that, we would go after those tax credits for that. The other part of this is the neighborhood revitalization program. Vaughn touched on a little bit. There is a 65% rebate for the first 10 years of the improved value that would go back as a rebate to the individual homeowner. So I didn't mention this, but there is potential. This is still in the Kansas legislature, but there is another funding source, which is the Moderate Income Housing Grant. That's probably at least a year out. We wouldn't be beholden to that, but that is an opportunity for some additional dollars that could come back towards this project to help bring the overall cost of the homes down. So, next slide. So this is a conceptual plan that we had Driggs put together. So 26 lots total, so we've got 5 frontage lots along Oak Street, 5 frontage lots along Ash Street, and then 16 lots in a cul-de-sac off of Northridge. There's a little bit of a floodplain issue on the north side of this lot, so that's why we've earmarked that as kind of our stormwater detention pond. Obviously, we do have the draw along the Skyline Court that we could utilize as well. Ultimately, that comes down to engineering to determine, they do a footprint, a study of the overall lot and see how much detention area that we do need. So if we could get more than 26 lots, obviously we would, but that's kind of our plan right now. So this is a little hard to see. So this is proposed floor plan. These are 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. All of the lots would be able to fit this floor plan on it with a 2-car garage. The little notch inside of the garage would be where a storm shelter could be placed. These would all be, as I mentioned, slab-on-grade homes. We could do a single-car garage, but around the 1,000 to 1,300 square feet. So, next slide. This is just a rendering of what the houses would look like. And finally, just kind of a partnership. We looked at this as a target demographic. We saw that there's a need out there specifically for employees of the Hayes school systems. We would target this as long as the demand is there, that we would want to work with people that are employees of USD 49, Hayes Catholic Schools, Fort Hayes Tech, and if the demand is there that those people want homes, we would give them the first right of refusal as long as the demand is there. Obviously, the market dictates that, and until that list would be exhausted, we would continue to target those folks. We mentioned, it was mentioned before, the economic impact of 25 to 30 homes in our community, sales tax, job creation, sustainability, and obviously the increase in tax base. So, assist in the overall need for housing. I mentioned that this is a recruitment tool for the school system, back to that partnership approach. So you've got a school or a school teacher or a young family that wants to move to town. I know it. My oldest daughter's a teacher. My second oldest is going to graduate as a teacher. So I know housing is a great need in our community, specifically in that price point. Obviously, we do have the ability to self-perform development and construction, so that can help control some of the cost that goes into it. Obviously, scheduling is a big piece of it as well. We would be willing to obviously negotiate the land price based on the outcome of the tax credit application. I mentioned earlier that the Midwest Energy utility costs are reimbursable back to the developer as long as it's built out in 5 years. So potentially that we could work out some sort of a sharing of that rebate as well. Overall, we're looking at adding $6.5 to $7 million to the property tax base. And ultimately, we view this as a way to give back to the community that's recently supported the school bond improvement project. So, questions?
Well, my question is for you and for the rest of you. So you have your overall initial investment in your proposal of nearly $600,000 before the commencement of any construction. So our appraisal value of this property was about $660,000? $630,000. So, and all of your appraisals, offers, bids were around $200,000 to $250,000. So all of you, with the initial investment that you have, do you really think that lot, that area of land is worth that amount of money?
It just doesn't pencil out. I mean, if you were to get that kind of money for that lot, and then on top of $50,000 to $60,000, you'd be stuck with $80,000 to $90,000 of cost per lot before you even start construction. So it makes it really tough to build a $250,000 to $300,000 home if you've got $90,000 wrapped up into it before we even start. So, and I realize part of, we were the low bid offer, but part of it I feel like we have a good grasp on the other costs that go into this development. And when we're looking at our target demographic, we're viewing, you've got to start with a range and work your way back down. It costs us the same to build a house on this piece of property as it would across town. It's what are your upfront expenses before you start that construction. So.
Yeah, And since all the bids were that way, it just made me wonder, because I had people say, well, if it's worth this,
Yeah.
you should try to get that. But then everybody else I've talked to that are in construction
Right.
said you're never going to get that out of it by the time you put in all of the development part together.
And that's part of why I mentioned, what the tall grass land actually sold for. Again, keep in mind too, that was put in by a nonprofit developer, essentially, to fill a need for, quote unquote, affordable housing in this community. So,
And the rest of you, are you on the same page with that as far as the price of that from a piece of?
Yeah, if you're asking, so, I can't remember, is it 6 or 7 acres? How was it? Seven. So I just kind of did the math here. That's a little over $2 a square foot and at the 660. You're in kind of apartment type density around. And so I guess it becomes a function of what you want there and how dense you want it. I don't think it would all come in at that kind of price for a single-family detached or duplex type product.
yeah, if you ever thought this was going to be a commercial type property, but CVS isn't going to come in here and say, I want to put a pharmacy there.
Right.
I think the values that were put out there is for a commercial frontage type 27th Vine Street type property, when we know the cost of residential development, it just doesn't pencil out to pay that kind of money for the land. So,
Were these homes slab homes?
yeah, I'll be slab on grade.
And you're going to build, you're the builder?
We did partner, so we would do a partnership agreement. We reached out, Kelly Kinky with Cornerstone Construction, who does he's done a lot of the home construction for Grow Hayes out in the tall grass development. So we would partner with him to build out these homes in 5 years or less. So.
And then how would you do that portion of it going back to USD 489, and how would you?
Yeah, that's a negotiation point, obviously. We're paying that full expense up front. The reimbursable is as those homes are finalized. Once permanent power, the permanent meter is in place, that's when that reimbursement comes back from Midwest Energy to us. So at that point, obviously, and it has to be done within the 5-year period. So after that, that money stays with Midwest Energy. So yes, obviously our goal would be to get it developed out in 5 years or less. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
So Ron, my next question would be, how many kids would we currently have enrolled in Felton Elementary in the fall?
We'll be somewhere, between probably 1,400, 1,500.
And what is the growth that school could hold?
We're going to have
You mean-
1,400 kids at Felton.
Are you talking just the school, or
Just
you
the
said
school.
elementary?
Felton
said Felton.
Elementary.
Oh,
Felton
and
Elementary.
Felton. I thought you were talking all our elementaries.
No, just
No.
growth.
Woo, they came to town.
No, well, we're at possible up 4 sections. What would that be? There's 360 right now at Wilson. It'll hold that. Felton will hold a few more students, of course. Probably 460. Another 100 students.
460. Let's see. Question here. So as far as, and I'm gonna ask him to come forward. He's probably looking at me like, Ruth, leave me alone. Doug, can you come up and tell us what? I know you came here a few weeks ago when I wasn't here, but you talked about the housing projects in Hayes and the specifics of the market that we're looking at. And then can you explain a little bit about RHID so everybody understands how that portion works or would work in this development portion and the benefit back to USD 489? It wouldn't be immediately, but you understand that, I think, and explain it better than anybody. Thank you.
Well, I'm Doug Williams, Executive Director of Grow Hayes. And first of all, I just say these are 4 fantastic proposals, I think. It's exciting that they've taken the time and it could lead to something like that. And the other thing I'd say, I don't envy your spot. I mean, you've got an appraisal that says it's worth X. But in my 50 years in the real estate business, I've seen a lot of appraisals, and it just kind of depends on the use that is ultimately used for. And if it was a commercial property, I'll give you a good example. The corner of 27th and Main, where Astor Bank is and the rest of that land, that was 5 acres and sold for $425,000. Pretty good price. Clearly a commercial use. And commercial land is always going to sell for more than residential use land is. And I have looked at this parcel and have had a hard time thinking what commercial use could possibly go on there. You know, maybe a nursing home or retirement home or something like that. But in terms of retail, it isn't going to happen. And so I think when we talk about value, we need to look at what the use might be. And from your perspective, I would encourage you to look at outcomes as opposed to just being totally focused on price. Because I would also argue that the difference between $250,000 or whatever and $630, while there's a lot of money in the overall scheme of things for USD 489's budget, it's not all that significant if it produces an outcome that is good for the community and is good for USD 489. You heard these guys talk a lot about the cost of development, and it's, believe me, it is very expensive. Our Tallgrass Edition, Heart of Americas, that's just going in, 101 lots, about $5.5 to $6 million in total cost. So that's around $55,000 per lot that it's costing to put that in. The only way that typically works in an environment we have today is the use of incentives that we can get, like an RHID, which is a reinvestment housing incentive district. And that allows the developer to recover some of those eligible infrastructure costs over a 25-year period through the tax increment that is created by what is built. You know, right now, there's no tax being generated on that site. When it gets built out, there may be, you know, if there's 40 homes paying $3,000 or $4,000 a year in tax, there's $120,000 to $150,000 being created. The developer can recover a certain percentage of that over a 25-year period to try and recoup their cost and those development costs so that they can then sell the lots at a price that is much more reasonable when you're talking about affordable housing. You can't pay $60,000 or $70,000 for a lot. And so that's the way an RHID works. And the impact of the school district is that, yeah, we get new homes and the income and the economic impact that's created by the construction of those homes and the activity that goes along with them, and hopefully the people that move here and the students that go to the school district. But you got to wait for the taxes. You know, that's a waiting game because you're not going to get much of those for a long period of time. The 20 mills that goes to the state is still collected. The 1.5 for education, which does come back to this district, but I could never tell you how that happens. But I know that it's 20 mills for education that goes to the state, and somehow some of it finds its way back. Maybe Ron can tell me that. And then the 1.5 mills, the balance of it goes to the developer until they've recovered those costs. So that's the downside of an RHID. You're kind of trading housing today for taxes in the future, but that's the way the RHID works. That property is also in the term that was used earlier, the Neighborhood Revitalization Program. It's in the district for that, which does allow a taxpayer to get a rebate for 65% of the increment that is created there also. Again, it'll all be increment because there's no tax base in there now to speak of. So that goes directly to the homeowner. And so they may, in that situation, be able to pay a little bit more for a lot because they're going to be getting this benefit that goes directly to them. In the case of an RHID, the developer may pass that savings on through a lower lot cost, but the NRP is another option that can be used. They're kind of mutually exclusive. You probably wouldn't do both. You know, you're going to make a choice between an NRP or an RHID. Lots of acronyms here, I know, but because you've you've only got one tax base to pull from, so you're not going to be able to double up or anything like that. What an RHID gives you is a longer period of time. It gives you 25 years instead of 10, which is what the NRP is. So lots of terms, and we can get down into the weeds, but the bottom line is that these vehicles are necessary to make a development like this work. It just has to be.
What would you say in that area is the average housing price?
Oh, I think you're right in that 250 to 350 price range up there.
So it wouldn't affect tax values on the property owners that are around that area now?
No, I don't think so. I don't see it as being a negative impact or a positive impact for that matter.
Okay.
Just hopefully a good use for that property.
Okay.
Doug, you said you currently have the 101 unit development that's going in. How many of those have been sold?
Well, none of them are sold yet.
Well, that's the new development.
Yeah, they're just started. If you go over 27th Street there and you see all the dirt construction, they've just started on that. It's supposed to be done sometime in the November to December time frame.
East of the hospital, east of the Votech school.
Yes,
Are those all sold?
yes.
How many units went in there?
There were 66 units in the original development, and they all sold prior to being finished. And each of those builders tells me they have a waiting list of 25 to 30 on their list. I don't know if those are all the same people and are on both lists, or if they're different people, but demand still seems to be very high for those. Those homes, the first 36 had a maximum sale price of $225,000. The next 18 had a maximum sale price of $235,000. And then the final 12, which are on Wheatland Drive, they were bigger lots. They were up to $325,000, a little bigger home. And
the price point of the new development 101?
It's probably going to be initially somewhere around the $265,000 range. Matt made the comment about the price of concrete and that kind of thing. They're going to build what they're proposing. To build the same house that they sold for $225,000 and $235,000 is going to cost $265,000 today to build that.
How many other housing developments, and you know the number, like Lincoln, like south of Hayes, how many others are out there in progress right now?
Well, of course, we've got the Grove, which is north of the hospital, which is 54 lots with 5 homes already started there. Adam Prey is putting out, I believe it's 11 or 12 lots south of Hayes on Reservation Road in Big Creek Estates. From an apartment standpoint, just right over here, Michael Graham's building 48 units that will be for rent. And he also has Lincoln School, where he intends to build 7 fourplexes, and also on the playground area, and also remodel the inside with, I think, another 26 units or so. So it sounds like, and it is, a lot of opportunity, a lot of units coming onto the market. But we've been playing catch up for a long time, and we still haven't caught up yet. And I get this question all the time, are we overbuilding? We'll know when we know. When things stop selling, when things stop renting, we'll know we're kind of at that point. We haven't hit it yet. We are putting a lot of inventory on the market here in the next 2 to 3 years as this thing kind of moves along. But at this point, the demand seems to be really continues to be very strong.
So the other tall grass development is by St. Nick's Church. All those lots are sold, or is that?
They're all sold. There may be one in there, Alan, that is kind of a Lone Ranger kind of deal. But
And then directly north of that is the new 101 development that you're talking about?
Yes. Directly at 22nd and Wheatland, directly north is the 66 that were built over the last 4 years, and then north of that is the 101 that goes all the way to the interstate.
Okay.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
So in addition to the bidders, it was asked that we invite Galen Romey from Romey Real Estate to talk about just listing the property. So Galen is here. So Galen.
Romey Real Estate.
Can you tell us what goes into you determining the figure for plot of land?
For what?
For that plot of land, can you go
Well-
tell us what goes into it?
I'm not an appraiser. I did a market analysis. You had an appraiser. Those figures came in comparative, but you have to realize that when you appraise a property, you do highest and best use. We know that's not going to be a commercial property as far as retail or something like that, probably. Probably the highest use you could get out of it would be multifamily, and that's where that came in at the $2 square foot, which he validated. That's where we were at. It's all determined by what you want the property to end up being used for. Whether it's multifamily, that's high-intensity use, which we have a lot starting up here in Hayes, or single-family units, or even just duplexes. That's what I see the crux of your decision needs to be right now. If we're going to marketing it, there's multiple ways to market it. Finding that developer, we don't see too many outside developers come in. We've got Overland Property Group, which has bought property from you guys before, Washington School. Locally, Michael Graham's been the gentleman that's been doing the big units. I think he's tapped out. I can't speak for him, but he's got a lot on his plate right now. And as Doug alluded to, we don't know where that market's going, when it's going to saturate. If you go back to then looking at the single family and maybe duplex type properties, you're going to get back into the price range that these gentlemen have been presenting to you as an offer. Any other questions?
Thank you, Galen.
I would just like to add, Mr. President, giving back to our community, we have an opportunity to file 4 grant proposals on this property, giving back to our community that is given to our students. The more taxes that we create in housing, which is where most of our money comes from in the school district, we all know that. If you're adding more, kind of like Doug said, yeah, it may take a little bit, but we get our 20 mills in general fund from the state anyway as a school district. But it's revenue that's coming back to where property values could be stabilized to where property values won't go up. That's all we talk about is taxes, taxes, taxes. But we have an opportunity to give back to our community in this and develop around a school that we are refurbishing. And if we can get more younger families in, Ron told us at our work session, we only have about 160 kindergartners enrolled in our district for next year. Those are things that we can bring younger families in, that want to be here, that graduate from Fort Hayes or Vo-Tech and stay here. And look at these gentlemen here that have people that I'm sure they hire an employee in HVAC and air conditioning and anything that they have, and we have that opportunity. And I think that it's something that we as a board really need to look at and consider of giving back with housing, which, like Doug said, that's why I wanted him to be up here too. It's not stopping. The housing, if you look at it, if you go online every week and look at what houses are out there, it's a need in our community. And I appreciate all of you guys coming forward, and thank you for coming and talking to us tonight. I appreciate it very much.
Okay. So, is that something that probably should be added to April 20th agenda?
I would say so.
Shall we continue on with that? Okay.
Can we get the presentation that was on computer? That
Yeah.
information?
Well, the only one that may have expired, we'll load that on. I don't think BJ Brothers actually had anything, unless you wanted to.
PwC.
They got paper. No, he passed out some paper. Yeah, he got some, he was here early.
PwC and Landon.
But we have PwC too. Yeah, they're,
Yeah. Vaughn was here early passing out paper.
okay.
Okay? Well, so April 20th, we'll hack at it again. All righty. Thank you again, gentlemen. Appreciate it very much for coming and talking to us. next up is 4.2, CASA Action Plan Update.
That's me. If I came back here. Let's see. You said? School improvement, not so exciting. Okay, all right. So I wanted to just update you. We submitted our action plan last week. The school improvement team, our DLT, we went to Salina. We decided we'd stay the course with standards alignment, focusing on tier 1 instruction. And we do that best through professional collaboration, making sure we're having the right conversations when we have PLCs together. So one of the questions that was asked of our system and we had to submit was why we feel this is the right action for our school system. And so I'll just let you look at that and read that.
It's all the speed.
It makes it very clear. Sorry.
So basically, we feel like this tier 1 instruction will really tighten that up by having conversations and outlining what should be happening consistent by design across the district. So we want that to be part of the scope and sequence and making sure that that data is driving our instruction. So we're not quite there yet. We feel that this works, so that's why it's continuing. I have two graphics that kind of show this. Our rock, we're going to have the weight scale. We know that at the end of the year, we have state assessments. That's the rock. And we know a lot happens at the student desk level, the pebbles, every 3 to 4 weeks, we get a chapter test, doing some kind of assessments. We as a system in that middle, in the scale, the pointer there, we really don't have a week measure to know if we're on course for state assessments. We don't want to wait until the spring to see if we made it. So we've been missing the evidence of impact, that middle piece. Here's another look at that. We want to make sure the adult behaviors with instruction is really connecting to the lag outcome, which is state assessment scores. It's going to be an outcome for accreditation. So what we're going to try to develop is 6 to 9 week common assessments that we will administer to students and take a look at the data to see if they're on track, to be a better predictor of how they'll do on that state assessment. Standards align. We do Fast Bridge now 3 times a year, but that's skill-based. Gives us a lot of based on math skills and reading skills, but we want to make sure that we have some standards aligned data points as well. So the consensus of our group is that we continue to take a look at that. The who, how, and what is going to happen. The drivers are members of our MTSS math team, district leadership team. We oversee the process. How, we already have a lot of good things in place with our PD days, with our self-correcting feedback loop. We have DLTs, we have BLTs. We have structures in place to do the professional learning. And then, like we talked about, the what is really making sure we refine the scope and sequence at the tier 1 level for all kids in the core class, and then making sure that we work to have some standards aligned assessments in place to make sure that's the accountability piece. That way we know what the instruction and if it's meeting the student outcome level. So our 6-month target, we'll have a check-in for KESA, and that is to make sure we have a refined math scope and sequence. We've had some professional learning with that. And then in a year, we want to have a data point. We want to have a standards aligned assessment in place and start using that so that we can analyze the results and see what needs to adjust, how we need to adjust instruction, or just celebrate the things that are on target. And then that's just the final slide of our self-correcting feedback, just making sure that it's a constant communication between the teachers who are doing the work and then how we at the district level can help support that. So I just wanted to share that with you and let you know what was in the action plan that was submitted, and now we'll wait for feedback. We'll follow the school. lots of different things, but this is one of the pieces for the accreditation.
Thank you very much. Next is reports 5.1. Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, just, you have the bond update at O'Laughlin and Felton is where really things are progressing there, but really just gearing up for the summer, as it's going to be a pretty intense summer for both of those projects to be finished up by the start of school next year. A little bit of legislative update. Legislative session wrapped up last week. Veto session starts this week. And I think it's Thursday through Saturday, and there'll probably be a few things that happen. Not always sure exactly what that would mean, but we'll just kind of wait and see. Right now, the way it stands, the budget, the budget bill, which is the big piece, right now it's base state aid. It's going to be funded at the consumer price index increase. So that is a good thing. Special education is going to increase by $6 million. Originally, the House had $10 million in their budget. Senate only had $6. So I guess they won the rock, paper, scissors fight. I guess I don't know. Mental health, MHIT. This one's a tough one because we really got reduced about $6 million out of our MHIT. This has been a very successful program in our district, as we were one of the first initial districts to get in on that. And so we've had lots of success. What this actually means for our district, we're not really sure. We're kind of in a wait and see mode right now to see how this one will also be how they'll handle the cut. And we'll just, hopefully it doesn't impact us too much. Some safe and secure money. Mentor teacher, I think if you remember last year, there was a debate about, I think it was reduced possibly. Yeah, it was reduced last year, but they did fund it at $1.3 million this year. So not seeing any increase there. PD money, same thing. We didn't really see any really new money. JAG-K, which is big in our district, got funded at the same level, but no increase. Just some other things on cut scores as far as state assessments and language there that we'll see how that all works out. And then the student walkout language that if students do walkouts, and I think not necessarily I'm worried about the financial piece, but just that we can't count it as an instruction day if they do work out a walkout. So not that we've had that to deal with, but I know it's happened in other districts around the state. Lots of things about property tax are being talked about, of course, during the veto session. We'll see how that all pans out. That could be something pretty significant because we just never know how that will affect us. And so, with valuations and dollars, it becomes pretty important that we continue to see the funds that we need to run our district. I also wanted to share just about the naming rights facility committee work that was been done. We wrapped that up last week. Kurt and Ruth served on that with several other people from the community. Basically, after just 3 meetings of really good conversation, lots of interesting input, we're right now just not looking at making any kinds of changes to any policy, but just continuing the path that we're on with doing some marketing of the advertising and possible more sponsorships, just to continue to ways to look at revenue. And it's been a very positive thing, and we'd like to continue it. Kurt and Ruth, if there's anything that you want to add on that?
The people that were on the committee were awesome. Very thought-provoking, serious suggestions about where we are in our state and the path forward, even some suggestions for forward thinking. So I enjoyed working with
I
them.
did too. It was very, very educational because you got both sides of the education process and for each state. And then you got just community members, you got business people, and their side of it, and what they'd be willing to pay, and things like that. And so, yeah, it worked very well together.
just also just update the board that we have the 2 open directors positions. Kyle's the special ed director's position is open, as well as our buildings and ground. Both those positions are posted, and we'll be looking and interviewing for those very soon. Chris, you had some information on it for you.
Yeah, just a couple of things. The first one would be benefits open enrollment, so our benefits plan here is July 1. So we have our enrollment will start a week from today. Our benefits consultant, Mike Allen, and our broker team, Gallagher, were able to negotiate a flat renewal with some very minor changes to plan design for the health plan through Aetna. We're going to see a 5% increase in our dental vision. Of course, ancillary plans, I'm talking here the same amount of money that goes into it. You're happy to see where we're at with the health renewal trend, I think, around the state is closer to 9.5%. Instead of 6 flat, minor tweaks as that plan is pretty impressive. If you remember, this will be the first year, so starting July 1 will be the first time that we move forward with the new contribution structure that was negotiated a year ago during negotiations with the teachers. So this will be the first time now that board contribution is determined based on option 3 and set to ensure that the employee only cost of that plan is $40 per month. If you remember last July, so all through this year, there's an additional $800 added to each side. Basically every other position, so all the classified, all of the other master agreement benefit eligible position will receive that same $800 starting this July 1. So we've got prepaid a year forward on the teacher side. We'll get added in, and that's outside of any of the regular cost of living or negotiations that last year. Then after open enrollment is complete, then we look at what the actual reduction in board paid contribution towards health insurance is, and then that amount will get divided back over. So very likely it'll be more than $800 that we already given to certified last year, and the $800 will go to all of those other positions. There's a good chance that there'll be some additional increase in compensation, because if you remember, the goal wasn't to change how much the board is contributing, but it was to change how the board contributes to make the enrollment, the benefits enrollment decision more, I guess, consumer driven, to make good decisions on that too. So we've got that all in the works, and we'll start up with open enrollment on Monday, a week from today. Any questions or comments on?
Do you have a list of all the vendors or people that we work with at open enrollment?
When you say vendors, you're
Like insurance, yeah, different, yes. The ones that we offer to our,
benefits handbook. Yeah.
okay. Benefit
So our health is provided through Aetna. The
supplemental.
dental is Delta, vision is VSP, or Plan Standard, RSLI. Basically, RSLI offers, covers all of the other supplemental that we offer. So they've got, they do the district-based life, they do a voluntary life, they do the vision, they have some supplemental insurance also that's offered, and then we have a couple of other things that's not under our Section 125 plan. We do have a vendor that through our program offers shield, those all.
And what vendor's that? Through the broker? They're all through the broker? Yeah. Yes. It's all through the broker?
Yes. Yeah, we only offer benefits through the program. Yes.
So any cancer or any of those
It's RSLI.
RSL? And that's all in that handbook? Listed in that handbook? It's all listed in that handbook, benefit handbook?
Which those are on the website right now.
doing our RFP proposals for the cleaning services that we have? When is that contract open?
Middle of the contract. Those were approved,
Last
I think, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, but does that come up every year?
No, we've just been reviewing the relationships that we have.
And why don't we do the same RFP
We've been very
cleaning
happy with the
services?
ones that we have. That would be,
Is it possible that we could get like a rundown? There's been so many changes with like cleaning and custodial and grounds. Like, is it possible that we could get a rundown of what like everyone's in charge of? Like, that would be great.
Because back 2 years ago when we approved it, things have changed quite a bit, and you've added a lot more buildings, services that we didn't even approve. So you've added more buildings. We've added more people that, Clean Right's doing more than they did 2 years ago. Is that correct?
yeah.
Okay.
As we have had open positions that can't fill them, then we continue to use the two partners that we contract with, ATS and Cleveland. And they've both been great partners and been able to help us keep going. Who's doing what right now, but yes.
And the changes since 2 years ago. What we first approved 2 years ago, what we had,
So
what
we
that's
approved
changed.
a contract for a rate, the contract, we didn't approve a number of people who were.
Well, the presentation was going to be these different places. Now that's changed.
Say that again? I don't understand.
What are you asking for specifically?
Okay, what we worked 2 years ago, we had certain buildings that we were going to do this, this, and this. And that has changed.
Well,
We've
exactly,
added more.
what were we going to do?
Adding more clean services from Clean Right.
So Clean Right was going to do
This
X amount,
building,
and-
this building, and then we've added more buildings, we've added more services.
With Clean Right, and the contract with Clean Right is for a rate to be able to provide the service. Yes, 2 years ago, they were doing less than they are right now, but in that time, and that's why we've contracted with them and our other staffing helper, ATS, is because as we have positions that come open and we are unable to fill them, as we're advertising, we have to have the job get done, right? And so that's where ATS jumps in, or Clean Right jumps in and helps with us. So it flexes a little bit, but yes, as they come in, they've done a great job of being able to make sure that.
And we've seen a lot of that service move out of maintenance to those providers.
Well, out of custodial, it's still in custodial, it's just changing who we pay.
But, and what responsibilities that our director has changed because they're doing supervision, they're doing hiring, and that's all changed. And so I'd like to see a map of all that.
Right. Hey,
Might the process be easier if you just had like the amount of money spent total on cleaning, you know, like in-house versus Clean Right just over the last couple of years and see how that total numbers.
Yeah.
You can do that for us.
Thank you very much. I have a couple questions. The directors, hopefully, the hiring will be, are you thinking the May meeting?
I would guess by at least May, if not
Okay.
sooner.
And then also for board members, the May 11th board meeting was on a Monday.
It's actually May 12th.
Now
You approved the calendar for May 12th.
Okay. It was the 12th?
Yeah.
It was not printed? Yeah. So we did get it right?
Yeah, you approved the May 12th.
Even though after we figured out?
Why are we doing that on the 12th? I don't remember.
Because of the high school awards banquets on that Monday. And so we were trying to do that a long time ago.
After I looked today, and I'm like, oh, we already.
We already did it, so good for us.
Virtual school will have graduation that
When did we
night,
approve
so
that?
we'll come early. The virtual school will have graduation that night, and we'll do
But we
it
didn't.
before, so hopefully,
At the place?
somewhere here probably.
Okay. That'd be, all righty. Thank you very much.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I've got some questions too, but when was that approved? Because
What are we talking about, Mr. Park?
the calendar for the change.
Oh, we did that in like
Long time ago.
July, maybe?
But during our work session, which was no action, so I'm just wondering when.
No, you know,
It was voted?
yeah.
When was it voted on?
It's good. We're good.
It's already been.
Okay.
Okay, I have some other
What
questions.
else?
Are you done, or?
Yeah, what else?
Okay. Mr. Wilson, on the Felton project, we talked about that we've not put in bathrooms in the first grade classrooms. And all our other schools, except for a couple situations that was changed since, but every classroom that we built prior to this last bond issue, we've always had 2 bathrooms in the kindergarten and 2 in the first. So we have, currently Wilson has 2 bathrooms in their kindergarten and in their first. So we're moving to another building and we're eliminating that. If you've ever spent time in an elementary school, first grade, 2 bathrooms is a necessity for a lot of reasons, because kids, when they need to go to the restroom, they need to go to the restroom. And so if they have to wait on something with that age especially, it causes a lot of problems. First of all, it's hard. A lot more accidents, which takes his time away from the teacher to take care of it, or the school nurses or whatever. And it can be eliminated if you have 2 spaces. I would like to see how much are we saving by not adding those bathrooms. You mentioned class square footage, and we might be losing for that. So I'd like to look at all the other schools and their class sizes compared to having 2 bathrooms and who they don't. Right now, we have an opportunity. They're doing the building. This is the time to add if it's important. And I feel it's
really
important.
almost, I mean, we're to the point where we've already approved the plan, so.
We've had so many change orders over the past few years, changing it again.
And I think we talked about that night. We have other schools,
O'Laughlin has one.
Yeah, O'Laughlin, Roosevelt. So
Laughlin
we
has
have other
one.
schools that have one.
Roosevelt has 1 classroom that has that. All of Wilson has 2, and now we're changing to a building that they're going to have just 1. And I think that will be problematic in the future. That's something we have to look at.
And how close, with his question, Ron, is the first grade classrooms to a bathroom at home?
They're just right across the hall.
Right across the hall.
The reason for that is you can't just send a kid out that age by themselves in a bathroom that big of a school. And to have them wait, oh, you can wait and we'll go all together as a class, very hard at that age level. There's just so many problems with that we can eliminate. Plus, that's our standard. O'Laughlin, all of them have but 1, and that has a smaller classroom in special ed, I believe. But they loop, and so you have that opportunity in both first kindergarten and first in O'Laughlin. Roosevelt, all of them up to, I think, 1 classroom that I'm aware of at Roosevelt in first grade has, and that was because of the changes that we made here recently. So that's something we all look at.
Okay.
I have another
Yes.
comment or question. It has to do with bathrooms. There's a lot of stuff in the legislature about bathrooms and having the gender-neutral bathrooms. What have we done or what have we looked at for that? And are we prepared with that legislation if it comes out and becomes law?
It is law.
Yeah, it's already signed in.
It's what?
It's already signed in.
Okay, so do we have to do anything? Is what we have
No.
appropriate? No, it's not. What are you saying?
Well, I think we have bathrooms. I mean, I'm not fully aware of all the intricacies of the law, but it's basically the law says that you must go to the bathroom that is your biological birth, and so yeah, I mean that's.
But it also has language in there that says it can't be combined spaces.
But we don't have combined spaces.
We have male and female bathrooms in the same space.
Well, the other separate.
So are you sure
They're not
that
going
that's not
into
going to be a
the same
problem?
stall, so
And
Well, I know-
I wouldn't call it a stall, it's not a stall.
a room.
It's a private room or suite. But I think we need to look at that and see if we are forced to do it, maybe while we have architects employed, what it would take to change those into 2 separate rooms.
Are you just talking signage change?
No, signage, I don't know if signage is going to.
Well, then you'd be right back you'd be in worse shape. We're actually in better shape.
What do you mean in poor
Because
shape?
it's 1 person in 1 room. So,
But if that could be divided and you have 2 different spaces, men's side and women's side. And what about I've been here, are going to that place and they're out of order? Is that still an issue with maintenance or that we?
yeah, I think I'm not sure what they have completed, but yeah, they're working on all fixing.
With the flush valves and stuff? And how much is that costing us? We got a report on that? And that's something that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a cost. It's not a cost that it's just vandalism, so.
Which means we shouldn't be paying it. The student is paying it.
Well, you got to catch them.
Well,
So we have a cost.
Yeah,
well, isn't that why we have the cameras outside the bathrooms?
Yeah.
Because we were assured that we would.
but we don't have cameras inside the bathroom.
No, it's outside the bathroom.
Yeah,
So we know who goes in and out.
yeah.
Would we be able to figure that out?
We've spent quite a few hours looking at security.
So what is that? That's a budgetary item, so how much is that costing us? And is it some of that part of Napolt's as far as their design flaw or something?
No.
So it's the locks is an issue and the flush valves are an issue? Those are the two issues with this system?
No, the flush valves are different than the locks. Locks have been replaced, and that wasn't our cost.
But we're still having them broke down or?
Yeah.
So how many bathrooms are unusable at this point?
I'm not, like I said, there were several that were 2 weeks ago. I don't know exactly where. The new flush valves were being replaced. I just don't know. I haven't checked it, so.
My concern is, and this is not, my concern is, look, I'm a firm believer in if you abuse something, you lose it. So these bathrooms that are the gender, or the traditional gang bathrooms are being vandalized and unusable, and that's going to leave them unusable for the people who only feel comfortable using them, which only leaves the gender-neutral bathrooms or the private stall bathrooms, and then that becomes a whole nother issue. So I'm just really hoping that parents get it together and talk to their kids, because this is unacceptable. Who does that?
Well, I'll tell you, during the musical, Ruth and I went down to one set, and there was not a man-specific bathroom available.
And it wasn't the locks, we were told,
It was the valve flush
the
system.
flush valve that were being vandalized.
So are they bringing tools in to, you know what?
I was told it was a TikTok challenge.
In my personal opinion, it needs to go back to the parent to pay
Yeah.
for it. Is what needs to
If we catch them, it will happen.
They need prosecuted.
Do we have, like if these bathrooms are the problems, do we have people monitoring those bathrooms? Like if the cameras aren't doing it and this is a continuous issue, then the next step is you gotta get people.
Sure. I mean, I know we don't know exactly when it's happening. It could be happening during class when a student leaves. But during passing periods, yes, there are people that are assigned to those areas.
You know, at one point, when the seniors used to leave the building, the teachers that have the seniors were expected to take their work into the hallways, to monitor the hallways. They could do their work, and they said it was just fine to do their work in the hallways, but they also were monitoring at the same time. That might be, like admin could take their work into the bathrooms and sit in the bathrooms and monitor and continue to work.
Okay. Is there anything else? Can we move on?
Sure.
Okay, well, we shall move on to number 6, action/discussion items. First up is 6.1, which is Administrator Director Contract Language Updates.
Mr. President, I move that we move this item to our next board meeting so we can have more discussion. And no, we're talking about the contract, correct?
It says 6.1, Administrator/Director Contract Language Update. The motion is down below to approve language updates to Administrator/Director contracts.
I'll make a motion to approve the language updates to administrator director contracts as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Yes.
Hold on.
So, but I made a motion.
No, I'm listening to you, Mr. Park. Go ahead.
Okay, I made a motion to suspend this to our next
So you want to table?
to table. Yes, sir.
You want to table the motion 6.1 to the next meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, reason?
Would that be for discussion if there's a second?
I would like to hear.
I'll second.
No, I would like to hear his reason.
The reason is there's numerous reasons. The contract days we have one contract for all administrators, and that is very unusual.
Haven't we discussed?
Okay, hold on.
Usually, the
Okay.
superintendent's contract is totally different than a principal's contract because it's a different job. You look
So
at,
so this is the same arguments that we've had before?
yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to table the 6.1 to the next board meeting for more discussion?
Yeah,
Is that your,
Yes,
correct? Okay. All right, so the table motion would proceed, the motion to approve. Anybody have any discussion about the tabling till the next motion? Alan's based upon reasons why in the past. Anybody else?
yeah, I would just, I mean, we've hashed this and hashed this and hashed this. And, I mean, these contracts need to be completed. And we have a school year coming up that, you know, that we need to at least get addressed now and move forward. I mean, these administrators can look elsewhere for jobs. And if we don't get this completed and done in a timely manner, look, I believe we lost Kyle already, and we can't afford to lose those valuable administrators, people that we have, especially the longevity that they have and the values that they provide to our district. So I'm asking you right now, we have to complete this. This has been drug on since February. We are now in April, folks.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes.
It was brought up at the last meeting, I heard talked about a little bit as far as Ron supervising himself, which is still the same language in this contract. Under him, it says, the administrator, being Ron Wilson, shall be under the direct supervision of the superintendent of schools. I think that's, like, that was discussed about that issue, probably be that he's our one employee under the discretion of the board. And if we kind of missed that big detail that we talked about in open session, I think that there might be more that needs to be talked about as well.
To make a,
I don't.
Hold on. Yes, Jamie?
I totally understand what you're saying, but instead of pushing off till the next meeting, just have a conversation now, because if we push it off, then it's going to be the same conversation at the next meeting. Like, let's talk about it now, and if you want them on a separate contract, make separate contract now.
It's on the agenda for tonight. Let's discuss it.
Well,
If you want to discuss it
Okay.
more.
Ken, do you have anything?
I don't.
Okay, I do not. Mr. Parker, can you make it brief, because we've heard most of it? Do you have anything new?
well,
Do you have anything
to
new?
make the point that Ruth said, we have already extended the contract, so we have everybody on the same existing contract for the next 2 years. Now, we're talking about just changing the contract that's going to be the next contract for if we choose to. Right now, they have that contract, and if we prove a raise, then we can change that. So we have until now, until we decide on the raises on this
Okay.
contract. So if we want to work on it and do our due diligence to look at the different things because and go through and look and compare other districts, find out any other district that has the superintendent on the same contract, because I haven't found them, and I've called several districts.
So it's just the superintendent's contract that you want to question.
Correct.
So all the other.
Well, but it's the items in that contract, like the number of days and.
Mr. President, I call for a vote.
I got you. I heard you. Okay. Do you have us dialed up, Jess, to vote on the motion to table 6.1 until the next board meeting?
Motion to table this motion until the next board meeting to allow for discussion.
Thank you.
By Alan, second by
Thank you very much. We shall call for the vote. All those in favor of tabling till the next board meeting, vote yes.
Yes.
Those voting no,
No.
no. Motion fails 5-2. Okay, the motion to approve administrator/district contract language update was moved by, was it Ruth? And seconded by Ken. That's correct. Okay, no, I'm not ready. Any discussion about that?
Go back to
Go
my
ahead.
point, just the other administrators, yes, but I think that Ron Wilson's contract needs to have language changed, that's one reason.
I would agree, that is weird. I don't think it's gonna take much to add another contract, and if that's the only wording that we need to change, that should take literally like nothing. The number of contracted days, I don't really have a problem with. The issues that concern me are mainly in the handbook. These contracted days make sense. the math like 10 times. There's 260 work days, and they're contracted for 240, so they lost 20 days. Where are those 20 days? 10 days for Christmas vacation, 5 days for spring break, 3 days for Thanksgiving break, 1 day for Memorial Day, 1 day for Labor Day. With 20 days, that's fine. Not a problem with that. My concern is, I don't agree with being able to work over break and being able to take that as a vacation day to work later. Teachers aren't offered that. I don't think administration should be offered that. I think that's kind of slap in the face of teachers who are spending that time with students. I think the number of vacation days and sick days is appalling. I'm not saying
I don't
that's
think
bad
we do
for
that.
administration. What?
We don't do that.
You don't do what?
Work during breaks and then get a vacation. That was previous. That
was literally a whole discussion. We were able to
That was
volunteer,
previous.
sign up.
That was talking about the
Previous.
old practice.
That was when Alex-
Okay, but then we discussed that there are people in the building, and there was a whole conversation.
Yeah. We're just working. We're just working.
But you're not required to be here.
But they're just working.
Okay, but teachers do that. Like, what I'm saying is, the amount of days, sick days and vacation days is not bad for a person to get, but in comparison to what teachers get is really concerning. And like, I have not been able to stop thinking about that, but that's in our handbook, and that will be discussed when the handbooks come out.
I would like to make the comment that you also have, when you look at administrative levels of the responsibility that Ron has, that Chris has, that Shanna has in addition to teachers. So, you know, in any level, if you're a higher level, you get different benefits. And to me, that's just part of being that, and you get better pay because it's a higher level position. That's in anything that you do. If you're captain of the police department, you get paid more than the police officer patrolling the street. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
So you get 6-figure salary, 22 days vacation, 14 days sick leave, and less contact with students. Whereas these teachers are with 1 versus 29 sometimes, every day, day in, day out, many of them with multiple degrees.
Yes, Jamie? Yes, I agree.
Well-
I agree. Same
And
way
they
with my
get-
position. I see
Well-
more people in my position than my president does. But you know what? She has the education, she has the commitment, she has the extra hours that she works, so she's entitled to it.
Okay, and these teachers, also, many of our teachers are more educated than their administrators. These
So-
teachers are putting in
Let
more
Jamie-
hours than the administrators. These teachers are just as dedicated, if not more, than some of their
Correct, Jamie.
administrators.
Let's talk about a doctor and a nurse. You ask any nurse who puts in more hours than a doctor does. It's the same thing, but the doctor has more education, has more responsibility, so the doctor gets paid more. It's the same thing.
I disagree, they're very different jobs. You
So
can get
is
a
an
doctorate in
administrator and a
nursing and
teacher.
still get paid less
So
than a
is,
doctor.
so is Ron's job and a teacher.
And
Okay.
I'm saying Ron's job is to support the teachers, and these teachers are being told to remember your why. Have you made a connection? I'm sorry that you're having trouble with this very large class size. And then you have days where literally only 1 out of 4 administrators are in the day in high school because everyone's going to a conference or on vacation. The
And that
teachers
needs
have
to
no
be
one to go to.
in the teacher negotiation contract. That's not Ron's responsibility as far as the contract goes. I think if you ask any principal that would be here this evening and ask if Ron doesn't stand up for them or is not there for them, Renee, would you want to say?
No, we're not going to go down that. We're not going to go down that road.
Yeah.
We're not going to go down that road. Any more discussion?
Yeah, let's move.
I've talked to several districts that are our size. 261 days is pretty standard for a superintendent and lead administrators.
There's only 260.
Okay.
261 because what they do is take the 52 times 2 weekends and then all the rest of them and subtract it.
We've brought this up before. Anybody got anything new? All right, we shall call for the vote. All those in favor of motion to approve the language updates to administrator/director contracts, vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. Those opposed, vote no.
No.
No. It's not, no.
Passes 4-3. Next on the action discussion items is 6.2, Felton Asbestos Removal Change Order.
Yeah, this is just a change order for some additional asbestos that was discovered during the demolition phase, as we have the demo group in there right now. Two areas that really had the asbestos, there was some 12 by 12 floor tile that was left in place. 12 by 12 usually indicates that it is non-asbestos. However, when they put that tile down, they placed it over some 9 by 9 tile. So when they started pulling it up, realized that there was black mastic under there, as well as two areas, two classrooms where we had carpet. Just always assume that that's no asbestos because of that's all been removed. But they found some black mastic glue that was in place with glue on top of that. So just the additional cost to get this removed, as well as some pipe joints that were found, 17 of those.
I make a motion to approve the change order for $29,417 from ISI for additional asbestos removal found during the demolition phase at Felton Elementary.
Thank you, Jamie. Is there a second?
Second.
Anybody have any questions or discussion?
Just,
Yes.
It's been discussed before as far as how many more times we're going to come back to asbestos. This job's over 50% more than what it was initially bid for. Bid for 110, we're roughly $55,000 over that. I don't think it's that hard to pull a tile and what's underneath it and know what you're getting into. So it seems to be silly.
Okay. Alan?
So we're over on this, and what does our district asbestos plan, management plan say? And could I get 2 copies, the last 2 copies of the three-year plan, reevaluation every 3 years? Has that been done? That should be the first thing that the contractors come in and look at, is that district management plan. Is it updated?
Well, it'll be updated now that we've pretty much gotten rid of every bit of asbestos in our buildings.
Well, what about the 3-year evaluation, the last 6 years?
I think we have that. I think.
Can I get a copy of those? Do you have it?
It's upstairs, too, I think.
You talking about the old management plan or the new management plan? Do we have a new management plan? And we have the 2 reevaluations from the last 6 years. Can I get a copy of those? And who did it? What company did it?
Don't know that I'm not yet.
We pay for those every 3 years.
So, I'll have to go back to I don't know the answer to that.
Do we-
We have a certified asbestos person on staff who, I don't know who does what. I'll have to go get that information for you.
And has letters been out to staff and students every year that they've been notified that there's been asbestos in those buildings? Because we have it in O'Laughlin.
Annual trainings, that is an asbestos notice, I believe.
That goes to every student and staff.
So you want to see the notice that goes to tell
Yeah, I've seen that.
all you'd like.
We have the notice, but has that been returned and it's been sent out to every staff and student and family, parent? You have that information?
So you want to see the notice that goes out,
And it's sent out every year.
okay?
Okay.
What else?
You want?
So my question is,
What else do you want? You want the
Why-
You want the plan? The 3?
I want the reevaluation, 3-year reeval for the district for the last 6 years.
Okay. So the last 2 reevaluations,
Correct.
And what are you going to do with it?
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Park?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Craig?
I just appreciate the staff, when they look at this and they found the asbestos under the carpeting, under the tile, that they are doing their due diligence to protect our staff, our kids, and we have the ability to do it right now during construction. If we were looking at doing it in the middle of the school year or some other time, I would have a problem, but this is the best opportunity we have to keep everybody safe.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Motion's been made by Jamie, was seconded by Craig. We shall vote. All those in...
One more quick question, please. That you're paying this out of capital outlay, correct, not bond? Like you have in the past? Okay.
Okay. All those in favor vote yes? Yes. All those opposed vote no?
No.
Passes 5-2. Next is 6.3, Hayes Middle School student and staff iPad replacement quote of iPads for Hayes Middle School students and staff. Are you,
I'll just take it and go.
Mr. Summers, you're up. Go ahead.
Good evening. So what you see in front of you is the replacement quote for the middle school student device, and we also provide the staff the iPad as well. The 800 is figuring in force, the current enrollment, current staff replacement, and then some spare devices in there. Just as enrollment grows, we keep those shelved and ready to go. They do provide for loaners should we need to do repairs. We can keep devices in hand. So very similar to what students are using now. They're on the 9th gen right now. This will move them up to the 11th gen. Still in the rugged combo case that they have. It does add a touchpad to it. They've not had that feature in the past. We have used that at the elementary school. So it's just kind of bringing it along. I know there was discussion with the staff out there about, if they want to continue with iPad, if they wanted to explore a laptop deployment. And I think overwhelmingly it was to continue with the iPad. There was concerns about lack of the ability to write on the screen with a laptop and the world-facing camera that the kids use. So for that reason, they kind of wanted to stay in the same device. We did, like I said, we pitched it out there because Apple has released a newer version of their MacBook, the Neo, and the education pricing on it's down to $499. So it did warrant the conversation just at that price point, but they were wanting to continue with this.
How long is this lease? How often do we do this? Just 3 years, 4 years?
4 years. Student devices every 4 years. We're trying to align, and the correction in this year is aligning the staff iPad replacement in it because they've always been off by a year. So it was just kind of aligning them together, fixing that. So as far as bulk purchasing, that we're not off a year.
Okay.
Even though Apple, traditionally has not changed that pricing. In the 10 years we've been doing this, the price point stays pretty steady.
And this has the approval of our tech committee?
Yeah, we ran it past them. I did send an email. I got a little behind on it last week, but an email went out to the committee members that couldn't be there at the meeting.
You had a meeting? Okay.
Like I said, really the big point for me was what do the building staff want, and that's overwhelmingly what was heard.
Okay.
So,
We have any questions for Scott? Okay.
Make a motion to approve the replacement of students and staff iPads for Hayes Middle School for $347,160 from Apple.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion?
What's the plan on the surplus property?
surplus property, what we've done in the past, we partner with a recycling company out of Oklahoma City. So they come through, they'll bring a box truck up and all the pallets. They come through, load them up. They will, I think we average somewhere around the $40, $50 mark historically on that. But basically they come, take them, they do the wipe. They send me a spreadsheet that says, here are the serial numbers. So we remove them from our management program.
So you don't have to clean them out or anything, they do that?
Nope, and they hand us documentation for destruction of data on those devices. So as far as our liability of that, they assume that liability. So if anything, if there were to be a breach or anything because of data on the devices, that's all on theirs. Their I think DOD, I forget the other acronym, but basically that level of certification of recycling governmental devices.
What percentage do you keep?
What percentage do we keep?
Yeah. Or, and so where did these go? Where are these in that mix? Are they something that needs to?
You're talking the ones you're using?
Yes.
I don't remember off the top of my head what generation these are, if they're the 9th or I'm gonna guess they're the 9th gen.
They're 6 years old, and I know, but I guess we turn them in every year to look at, but I don't know if they're, I don't think they've been switched.
I don't know, that's, I mean, a conversation we need to have.
This is 7th gen.
Okay, so we probably need to roll you guys up. They're getting a little slow, aren't they? I know we talk about the students and staff, but honestly,
Can you save a couple back?
We can.
All right. Anybody else? All righty.
So you roughly
Yes.
get like 40,000 back from the company out of Oklahoma.
That's the target. Is normally we get about $40 to $50 per device.
Per unit, 500 devices, $50 would be about 50,000. And that goes back to the same fund that we're taking out of.
Goes back to capital outlay.
Okay. Great. All right. Thank you, Mr. Summers. Appreciate it very much. All right, we shall call for the vote. All those in favor, vote yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, vote no. Passes 7-0. Okay, next is 6.4. Hayes Middle School renovation, summer renovations.
So what you have, we reviewed these at the work session, but bring it to you for action now. The flooring, so goal is this summer to be able to finish off the remodel of Hayes Middle School. We knew it was going to be at least 2 phases. We were kind of thinking, we're kind of planning out 3, but based on what was able to get done last summer, we think we can get the rest of the building done in this phase. So what you have in front of you is the quote from Bitstam for, this would be all classroom flooring, along with an alternate for the cafeteria flooring. This is matching price, service, material, and all of that. So it matches the rest of the building. But they're honoring last summer's bid that they provided to Apple. So basically, we're getting the same price that Apple was able to get last year when they were doing classrooms for Apple through this process. So this would be flooring for all the classrooms, alternate for that cafeteria. The reason we have that as an alternate, and the reason I would suggest that you approve it now, is when we get in, and so as soon as school is out, we'll tear out the tile in the cafeteria. If the concrete is as we hope and as we think it will be, without a whole bunch of like spiderweb cracks, if it's in great shape, then we won't do the tile back in there. We'll polish the concrete like we have in a bunch of the other classrooms. But if we get that tile off, and it is spiderweb, if there's too many cracks, it wouldn't be something that we want to polish, then we'd have the ability to do the tile flooring and get that all in and done still in time before school starts.
Have we checked that out, make sure there's no asbestos there?
Yeah, it's a newer edition. That was done.
That was built when
not all that long ago, so it's, yes. All right.
That's
Now, I will tell you,
20 years?
check. No, because the only way they can check is to tear it up and get under it.
Well,
But it is
full
a
section,
newer
I mean,
one.
take a sample, try to tear a little fortified.
Yeah, that entire
that was
structure was built.
about 20 years ago. That's when they added the ag facility.
We've already done the survey, which was done at the same time.
Good. Anybody else?
I mean, this is coming out of capital outlay.
Right.
I guess, this being the bond project for the middle, like, why isn't it coming out of bond money?
So the,
Because it's been originally bid by Apple's, which made it sound like it was going to be part of the bond, but then now we're trying to get out of a different fund.
well, right, but that was, I mean, from the very beginning, part of the middle school, we paid Apples to do some of it, the stuff that had, I'm going to say more intense construction, right? That required moving the HVAC or moving walls, things like that. It's been our staff doing the, what I'd call more lighter reno. So when a room just needs carpet, paint, ceiling tile, stuff like that we have on a regular rotation,
So there's no abatement needed?
Say again?
There's no abatement, asbestos abatement needed like we did those other rooms at the high school?
Yes. That is,
We did it ourselves, and we didn't, we
right,
did it.
those other, yeah, no, what got abated in the high school was the hallways. Those were what was the 9x9 tile.
But the classrooms that we did ourselves, we didn't use an abatement company, we did it ourselves.
Right, they had all, yeah, it's all.
They'd already been abated.
They had already been done.
That was the original, those classrooms that used to be the home ec room, those are all original flooring. And we did it. So that's what I'm saying, we did, and that's one thing that we wanted to try to do, is to have, if it's paint and flooring, we should do it ourselves, just like we always do, instead of paying renovation prices per square foot. And so I'm glad we're seeing it doing that.
Okay.
I make the motion to approve the quote for HMS summer renovations for flooring from Felton Commercial Flooring Incorporated for $184,560.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
So the reason this wasn't bid was just because we had the relationship with them already?
It was bid last year, and they're honoring that bid price from last year.
Okay. And then this could be less if we polish.
Right, if we end up polishing that.
It'll be 100, it could be less than 100.
Then that 28, we would not.
Okay,
spend that.
thank you very much.
But there is expense for that. We have to rent the machine, and we have to have people do it. So what's the trade-off?
Right. You mean how much, well.
We have to have our guys do it.
Takes a lot more time on our end, but we already have, I mean, we've been renting machines, we've done a bunch of the other rooms, I don't know what it costs per.
Can we get the price of what that is to rent that machine per day or
I
whatever?
don't think we actually rented a machine.
Yeah, I don't know that-
No, we bought some diamond
Cutters.
the things that actually do the cutting. There's
Is
costs
Pure-
in
is
that.
from Pure Zone, did Pure Zone give it to you? I'm sure they
Yes,
rented it.
they've allowed us to use it.
Yeah, I think it's actually another district.
I think it's Pure.
Pure Zone helped facilitate it.
No, it might have been. It was through Pure Zone.
We can find out.
Okay.
I'd like to know the cost difference. Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Let us vote. All those in favor, vote yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, vote no. Passes 7-0. Yes, yes.
One thing, not a part of the vote, so the vote is just fine. But I also provided some information, so to the bathroom flooring in the phase last summer where we added a bathroom into the locker room, we used ironclad coatings. They do an epoxy flake coating that matches what we've done in all of the other buildings. I have a quote from them right now, or an estimate, I'm sorry. We have an estimate from them right now, just a little under 28,000. I will have, I wasn't able to get everything to you in time for the work session last time, but just so you know, it'll be about 28,000. I'll have the official, or the final quote on that. It'll be through purchasing cooperative, but we want to use the same materials, we want it to be the same as the rest of the building, so I'll be bringing that to you for consideration.
Okay.
So you're
Thank
not
you.
going to bid that either? You're just going to go with the
Yeah,
same?
it'll be bid through tips, through the purchasing cooperative.
Okay. All right. I will make a motion to go into executive session from. Oh, I am jumping the gun.
Yeah, it's not
Apologize.
shown up on ours yet. I've refreshed a few times.
I am like the worst. Not- Okay. All righty. Are we ready, Jess? I'm sorry. I'm going. Mr. No Vote.
Yeah, you guys can go. You don't need to wait.
Are we good, Jess?
Yeah, you can go, and then when it's time to go, I'll go.
Okay, all right. So I got to find it again. Okay. I make a motion to go into executive session.
Still can't find it.
What are we waiting for?
Talking.
Talk about the
I make the motion that we approve the financials that are presented.
Oh, yes, 6.5. My apologies.
That was my motion.
Yes. 6.5 was moved. I forgot about 6.5. The financials. Mr. Park.
I have a motion for that. We need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Ken's made the motion. And Rue second. All right, Mr. Park.
Okay, I want to talk about Purple Wave. I did request for the settlement sheets, and you got those to us, thank you. The restaurant equipment, that was put at a board meeting that we approved. The box truck, when was that approved?
Well, it was approved two different times. It was approved as a part of the move to the Vantage White Fleet with Enterprise. Whenever we did that, and then it was approved again in January. This individual truck was approved again at the January meeting.
We had one meeting in January, so this was approved in January? Okay.
But again, I would say that would be the second time it was approved because all of the White Fleet was approved as part of the move to go to Enterprise.
Okay, but Enterprise did not just sell this, we sold it.
Right.
They advise us on when to sell it for the highest profit.
So it wasn't,
When we went with Enterprise, the direction of the board was to liquidate the White Fleet and move all of the White Fleet to an Enterprise contract.
How many more of the White Fleet do we have?
That was, no, there's one more full box truck.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the
one
next
more
time a box truck comes up, it was on the Enterprise fleet.
Yes, but I will do my best to make sure that we bring it to you again, so we know exactly when it's going out. It should be, I believe we're hanging on to it until this next move, like this summer, so that we have kind of backup and extra trucks around, and then as soon as we get through the move, sometime around August, September, then we'll liquidate that one as well, and that will be the last piece of white equipment or white fleet that we own.
So
When I look at the January, it does show on there, we did vote.
Okay.
thank you. So the 11 other settlements for those other 11 of the White Fleet, where's that at? I asked about that last meeting too. The settlement sheet for those, it's all the pickups and that we sold, that
So
we,
again, some of the White Fleet sold through Enterprise. I'd have to go get, I mean, we can go get, if you want.
I think there's 11 that went-
Exactly.
the 11,
All of the White Fleet sold for, I can get that, but I can't.
10 or 11 through Purple Wave. I'd like to see that settlement sheet. And
Just the Purple Wave or the?
they're Purple Wave.
Or the Enterprise sold as well?
Yes, those two. I didn't know they sold any, but I'd like to see the
Yeah,
comparison.
We're down to one, so all of the Suburban cars,
They were not sold, they were sold Purple Wave. They weren't sold for Enterprise. And we go back to that meeting when we had Enterprise here, we approved that they would sell them, not that we sold them. And we sold them, and we need to approve for any surplus property, we need to approve.
But we did approve that.
Yes.
In January, I just looked it up.
That one, but not those others.
They were approved with the Enterprise contract.
It was a link.
Okay.
But that was for Enterprise to sell them, and we sold them. And that's the difference.
Yeah, it was the liquidate. Enterprise said they would sell what they could sell.
I think if you look at the surplus statute, it says that we approve all surplus property that we sell.
Okay.
so we want a list of all of the sales price for any of the White Fleet that's liquidated as we move.
And the settlement sheets from Purple Wave.
You want the actual sheet, or you just want to?
Just like you did here, just like this for those other vehicles.
Okay.
Can you forward those to everybody, please?
Yeah, we'll be
Okay.
out. Bring it
Thank
to
you.
the next meeting and load it all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We good?
Yes,
We're good?
yes.
All right, let us vote on 6.5, the financials. All those in favor, vote yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, vote no. Seven oh, Jess.
Yes.
Yes, 7-0.
Thank you. All right. The one I've been trying to get to. All right. I make a motion to go into executive session for matters relating to employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representative or representatives of the body or agency, in order to protect the district's right to confidentiality of its negotiating position and the public interest. In attendance other than the board
our
4 administrators,
4 administrators and building.
and our legal counsel. We will meet in the training room.
Yeah, 20
and-
minutes.
20 minutes, so we will return at 9 o'clock. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Excellent. Let us vote. All those in favor vote yes.
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 That's a yes for me.
You're not working. Okay. All those opposed vote no.
Passes 7-0.
Passes 7-0.